Hello and welcome to Dark and Stormy Book Club. Today we have a talk with Verena Rose, the chair of Malice Domestic. We are thrilled to have her with us. Enjoy.
I'm Ann Dart.
I'm Tracy Stormy.
And I'm Kathy Knight.
And together we are
It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club,
a podcast for mystery lovers.
Welcome.
If you enjoy our show, please consider contributing to the Dark and Stormy Patreon. By becoming a patron, you will help us create better and quality content. There are also benefits to becoming a patron, such as exclusive content and Dark and Stormy merchandise. Become a supporter at patreon.com/darkandstormybc. Check our website for the link. We appreciate any and all contributions. Thank you.
Before we talk to Verena, I would like to announce the winners of the Malice Domestic Agatha Awards for 2022. And the winners are Best Contemporary Novel, A World of Curiosities by Louise Penny, Minotaur Books. Best Historical Novel, Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Amanda Flower, Berkley Press. Best First Novel, Cheddar Off Dead, Korina Moss, St. Martin's Press. Best Short Story, Beauty and the Beyotch, Barb Goffman, Sherlock Holmes Mystery Magazine, February of 2022. Best Nonfiction, Promophobia, Taking the Mystery Out of Promoting Crime Fiction, by Diane, Vallere, editor, Sisters in Crime. The Best Children and Young Adult is Enola, Holmes, and the Elegant Escapade by Nancy Springer, Wednesday Books. We sincerely congratulate each one of the nominees and the wonderful winners of each and every award. And we look forward to next year's Malice. We are very pleased to have Verena Rose with us. She is the chair of Malice Domestic. She is an editor and co-publisher at Level Best Books. She is a story writer and by day an accountant. We're here with Verena Rose. She is the chair of the board of directors for Malice. Welcome, Verena.
Thank you, Anne and Tracy, for having me today. I've been rushing around, and Anne caught me there at the tea station. I just put in my ballot, which Anne Murphy, our volunteer chair, said, "Get your ballot in."
Yes.
So I went.
They hound you.
Yes, they hound you.
They don't
and how
you.
would it look if the chair of Malice didn't hand in a ballot? So anyway, I've done that. So I've been running around pretty crazy. So it's nice to sit down for a few minutes.
Yeah. Now, how long have you worked with Malice?
My very first Malice was Malice 8, and I remember it vividly because Peter Lovesey was the guest of honor, I believe, that year, and he told these wonderful stories at the banquet, and I was just kind of awestruck. And I had made friends with the woman who owned the Bethesda bookstore. I think it was called the Mystery Bookstore. I think the one in New York is the Mysterious Bookshop,
Yes.
and they were the Mystery Bookstore in Bethesda, and the conference always took place at the Hyatt right there in Bethesda. So she would have like an after party after Malice, and a lot of the authors would walk down and sign books. So for 2 years before Malice 8, so 6 and 7, I went to that party. I was horribly shy, a shy child, and I was shy like forever. So one day, Jean said to me, "How would you like to be on the board of directors of Malice?" And I said, "Well, I work accounting, and during tax season, I have to work Saturday." She said, "Oh, our meetings are on Sundays, and that would be great." And so my first year was Malice 11, and I was the author liaison. And then I think the next year, Cindy Silverblatt was the chair at that point. She's the Agatha chair now. I was the program chair that year. And she asked me if I wanted to introduce Simon Brett, who was doing Crime in Rhyme. And all it meant was I needed to go up on the stage. This was at the Renaissance in DC, and they had an amphitheater, not like the one here. You know, you could teach classes in this one. This one was really an amphitheater. It was just seats around, and there was a stage below. And I went, God, I've opened my mouth and said I'll do that, and what am I going to do? So it didn't have to be anything real elaborate, but I was petrified.
Yes.
And Simon, in his loveliness, said, "You'll be fine. Be on the stage with you. You'll be fine." And I was fine. And so then after that, I decided, well, maybe I want to try my hand at moderating a panel. So I did that. And I got pretty good at that. And I was treasurer for maybe 5 years. And I've been chair, I think this is my 17th year. So I've been coming since 8, and I've been on the board since 11. So I think that's 26 years I've been.
Well, with all those years of Malice under your belt, what is one of the most memorable moments that you've experienced in
I just
Malice?
had it last night.
Really?
Yes. I'm a huge fan of Barbara Mertz, Elizabeth Peters,
yes.
and I read the Amelia Peabody's years ago. And Beth has been a really good friend of Malice. And of course, I don't know if everybody knows it, but Malice Domestic, she was one of the first people because, again, there wasn't a convention for traditional mysteries. I hate to say cozy mysteries because cozies are part of traditional, but we kind of go beyond that.
Yes.
Anyway, the convention was created, I think, in 1982 or something around there. The first one was held in Silver Spring, which apparently the hotel was a horror. And Anne Murphy, our volunteer chair, can tell you stories about that because she's one of the faithful few. She's been to every Malice since the very beginning. And so they moved it to the Hyatt in Bethesda, which is a lovely hotel, and it was a small convention. I mean, when I first started coming, they cut off fan registrations at like $285 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Jean said to me, you know, get your registration in early because they cut it off. Now, we don't do that anymore because we're in a much bigger venue. Mm-hmm. But the Hyatt was a smaller hotel. But it was kind of nice because it was very intimate, because one panel would be over here and one panel would be over here, and people would be coming out of panels and they go, oh, hi!
Yeah.
Sometimes you can walk around this
Oh my
whole
gosh, it's like a maze.
and you may not see people that you're looking for. So then we moved from there. We went down to DC for a while, but we came back to Maryland. We came back to the Hyatt. But the Hyatt became what they call a boutique hotel, so it really wasn't conducive to our group.
Yeah.
But anyway, your question you asked me. So one of the most memorable moments was last night because Beth has been putting together a lot of different things for this weekend, stuff for the auction. And we've been doing emails and Zoom meetings about the stuff we were going to do to honor her mother. And so she emailed us and said, Salima Ikram can be there, do an interview with me from 7:30 to 8. Now, if you don't know who Salima Ikram is, she is a world-renowned Egyptologist. And she was a huge friend. I mean, they were very, very good friends. I think she's more contemporary of Beth in age, but she and Barbara got to be very good friends. So she did a talk with Beth, which I was able to videotape because I have friends that couldn't be here this year, and I said, I will tape that for you. And then I had asked Beth, I said, do you think Dr. Ikram would sign my books? Because I have some of her nonfiction books. I told her as she came in last night, I said, you are doing the job that I dreamed of as a child to be able to do. I wanted, because I knew there are more pharaohs over there that they haven't found yet, and I want to go over there and dig. And, I've been thinking, how would I have managed that? But that's because bones, knees, ankles, everything ache now. But
Amelia Peabody made it glamorous.
She did. So in preparation for this weekend, even though I'd read them all, but some of them many years ago, I started listening to them. And of course, Barbara Rosenblatt is the narrator. Yes. It's not in the program, but Barbara Rosenblatt will be doing a reading tomorrow at the Tea. Oh, so that's another little special perk. So I got to talk to her last night, and I'm like, that's the voice that's been in my ear for weeks. I've been listening to all these books. But yeah, I'm such a huge fangirl of Salima Ikram. And when she said, yes, of course I'll sign your books, we did. Selfies, we did.
Sweet.
Pictures, we did. She signed all my books. She gave me her email because apparently books are hard to get in Egypt. And she said it, when she was talking, says, anybody has books, mysteries, whatever, mail them to Egypt. I'd be happy to have them.
Oh my goodness.
Good reading material, I guess it's hard to come by over there.
Yeah.
So I walked up, I said, you were serious about that? I can send you books. Do not worry, we can send you books. But she was flying back to Egypt today, so she wasn't able to stay for the whole weekend. But that is probably
Your top note.
that I can think of right now. I'm sure there were some others.
Now, did you bid on the hat?
I did not, because I don't know if you saw me yesterday, but I had my own pith helmet. I was dressed like Amelia yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
so I
okay.
got my picture taken with Salima Ikram, dressed
my
as Amelia
gosh.
Peabody.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of cool. I haven't posted that on Facebook yet. I guess
Yeah,
I'm
you
falling
got
down on
to.
the job.
Yeah.
So, Verena, it was so nice for you to stop by and talk to us. Malice is our favorite. You guys do such a good job, and we just love everything about it. And
Well,
we'll be here every year that they'll let us.
Well, as long as I'm around, there won't be any problem with that. I think we are probably the warmest and most welcoming.
Oh, definitely,
I
definitely.
mean, Baltricon is just too big to be that warm and
Yeah.
cozy.
Yeah.
And as
And they don't seem to do the cozies as much as
no,
the
they
others.
there are certain people that think cozies are trash, but
Yeah, well, they're not.
What do they know?
well, thank you for having me, and
right.
thank you for
Thank you.
giving me a moment to sit down and
Yeah.
rest
Okay.
and not have to be running up and down the halls.
Be sure to tune in next week when we will have more interviews from Malice and our impressions of the weekend. So be sure and tune in then. Trivia. Last week's question was, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil spent how many weeks on the New York Times bestseller list? A, 52, B, 100, C, 150, or D, 216. The answer is D, 216. John Berendt published Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil in 1994, and it became an overnight success. The book spent a record-breaking 216 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. Still to this day, the longest-standing bestseller of the Times. This week's question is, Jeffrey Deaver was ahead of his time in 2001 when he what? A, he had characters in space. B, he had characters using social media. C, he had characters using small-sized cell phones. Or D, he had characters cured of cancer. Tune in next week for the answer. Well, that wraps up another episode of Dark and Stormy Book Club. I can't tell you how much we enjoyed Malice. We thank the people there, Verena Rose and John Riley Simmons, and all the crew. They were wonderful to us. They always are. We had a complete blast, and we met so many great people, and we will meet a few of them next week when we have our pop-up interviews. So be sure and join us then. And remember,
Life would be boring without a little mystery. Bye.